Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting session of the Corn Office. I'm your host, Jay, and this podcast is brought to you by Connectix. Connectix helps power small to medium business owners by providing virtual assistants so that they can focus on the main thing, which is growing the business. Alrighty, so that's it for the sponsors. In terms of today's episode, we have quite a decorated individual with us at the Corn Office. He is multifaceted and the founding partner of Xtrategy, an adjunct professor from Georgetown University, and also an international arbitrator, José Antonio Rivas. Welcome on the Con Office, Jose.
Hi, Jay. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Lovely having you as well. Individual, as I mentioned at the very outset. But let's break the ice. We had a few pre-podcast chats, but let's break the ice and let's tell the audience who you are, what you do, and a bit about Xtrategy. Let's start there.
Arbitration, and it advises both states and international organizations on public international law.
Yeah.
So all of those, just to try to be clear on what those are. Investment arbitration are disputes that exist between sovereign states, nations,
Yep.
and investors that would sue them before international arbitration tribunals, which are not courts, but normally three-member panels that decide issues that that may um, include issues such as expropriation or discrimination or issues of unfairness of
Yep.
treatment brought by investors supposedly against nation states. And public international law is really the part of international law that normally deals with issues between nation states. So for instance, issues related to climate change. For instance, whenever a state that does not comply with the obligations to protect the environment, other states may sue, etc. So that, in a nutshell, that's what we do, and we do it from a very small law firm, which includes about six associates as well as myself, and we're based in Washington D.C. and we also have some associates in South America, in Colombia, and that's really our firm. I also teach at Georgetown, pretty much what I practice. And in addition to that, I am also in some cases an arbitrator, which are those panels. Of course, I'm an arbitrator in those cases in which I am not a counsel because that would create some conflict. So that's in a nutshell what we do. And we've been in the firm for 6 years, and before that, I practiced pretty much what I do, but in different capacities, negotiating treaties or as a senior associate of a bigger law firm. That's in a nutshell what we do.
Got it. In a nutshell, that's essentially what Jose's world is filled with. But Jose, getting into the nitty gritties, global beginnings is something that I'd like to call strategy. And right now, you built a firm that operates across DC, Bogota, Miami, and a couple of other states as well. And my question would be, what inspired you to create a truly international practice? And pretty sure the early days were filled with hurdles. And care to share a few stories during the early days on how you built up a strategy, and then what inspired you to create an international practice?
Thank you. Well, just to be clear, we exist as a law practice, as a legal practice, both in Washington
Yep.
D.C. That's where we are a law firm, and we also do that practice in Colombia.
Gotcha.
In Miami, we do not have a legal practice. What we have there is a consultancy in business investment, but it's not a legal
Yep.
practice as such. That is headed by my partner who doesn't practice law there, but just business consultancy. But going back to your
Yep.
question, what inspired me to move forward with an international practice is basically the notion that international law exists, and that so many aspects of global life depend on the getting together and consent between nations. You know, unless there's cooperation and unless there are minimal denominators that people agree on and nation states agree on, it is very difficult to move certain aspects forward, including, for instance, a fight or movement for climate change, defense of human rights, etc. So many things depend on international law, even though currently there are tensions and it's very much in crisis in many countries and nations and pretty much in every continent. That being said, unless cooperation takes place, it will be very difficult to move forward. All that's in terms of what inspired me to get closer to international relations and international law. What inspired me to get closer to international law as a legal science is the fact that international law is very much built on certain institutions, and we call them sources that require consent and practice. So if you think in terms of customary international law, it's really formed by one,
Yep.
practice of the states, and two, the notion that such practice is binding. So, you know, humanity has moved forward in many respects. There was a time when, for instance, piracy was not illegal, when apartheid was not illegal. There was a time in history where genocide was not illegal, and as humanity has moved forward, those consensus that those should be outlawed have moved forward. So customary international law really is based on practice and the notion that humanity has to evolve. And international law somehow is inspiring in that purpose. So that's really what brought me into international law and what moves me. So basically, that's your answer. And to make it very practical, dispute resolution is something that can be done or achieved through arbitration, which is what I practice. And advice on public international law is also what we do. So, all in all, that's what really moves us forward.
Got got it. And then you mentioned that when it comes to Xtrategy, it's an intersection of arbitration, public international law, and business consulting. So, three different worlds, three separate service providers in an ideal world, but Xtrategy has become that one boutique firm which provides all these. So, in balancing all this and trying to wear all three hats at once, how exactly do you have succeeded in the past 6 years when it comes to Xtrategy with all this?
Well, I'm not sure that I'm succeeded. We have been we are in
Yeah,
business. We're still alive and kicking, and we have been in business now for six
yeah,
years. But basically, it's a cycle. Business wise, it's a cycle that you have to do a little bit of everything. First of all, you have to have some technical knowledge of public international law, of investment arbitration, and international commercial arbitration, which I gained by both at some stage working as a negotiator for the Republic of
yeah,
Colombia of investment treaties, by working at an investment arbitration center, which is ICSID, which is an international organization itself, which is related to the World
yep,
Bank, and also by teaching first in Colombia public international law and now at Georgetown investment treaty arbitration. So that's the technical aspect. Then there's a business aspect to it, which is basically some level of promotion that you do for your
yeah,
business, and that is somehow achieved by going into forums and doing presentations,
yep,
etc., by creating the Washington Arbitration Week,
yes,
which serves the community and also helps to promote various firms, not only ours, but also the Washington D.C. arbitration community. And thirdly, by getting to know the business and knowing that there may be some investors who may be needing finance, and also by helping them to look for, how to put their cases forward in some cases, on the one hand, but also by helping states to defend themselves in cases that there are unsubstantive claims against them, and by providing some workshops to train state officials from various nation states. So all in all, it's a business cycle which includes work, training, and promotion. And we can do that very much in Washington, D.C., which is pretty much an epicenter of investment treaty arbitration and also public international law.
Got it. So DC being an epicenter for investment arbitration and so on and so forth. My next question was actually part of your answer as well, because I saw that you are one of the co-founders for World Washington Arbitration Week as well, which recently concluded. And this show would be dull if we didn't talk as to how that brainchild came into being and how it was rolled out this year. How was the turn up? And let's talk a bit more on that of how Washington Arbitration came into being.
Thank you, Jay, for that question, because on Friday we finished our sixth edition of Washington Arbitration Week. For many years, the Washington Arbitration DC community, and in its related community, we would meet with our colleagues by chance in other cities that also had arbitration conferences. We would meet in Milan or Miami or in New York or Paris or in some other cities, and there was really no arbitration forum for Washington, D.C. There is a public international, old and very important forum headed by the American Society of International Law, which happens in March, but it's not an arbitration solely focused forum. So for many years, arbitrators and practitioners of arbitration would meet somewhere else but Washington, D.C., and we would see them perhaps in here playing an opposing party role, which is not ideal for networking, really. So that had a ultimately business-wise a hole in the market and a need for greater links between the community. During the pandemic, Ian Laird, who I teach the course at Georgetown with,
Yep.
who's a partner of another law firm called Kroll and Mooring, and myself, had the initiative of putting together a Washington Arbitration Week. And because at the time there was a lot of thirst for communication amongst the people who were just sitting idle in their houses doing work, but pretty much alone work. The idea really picked up, and firms, both damages or quantum firms, as well as law firms from Washington, D.C., really trusted us, and the community trusted us to put something together. And we started doing that online. And that year, it was a success. The first year, we did not accept any sponsorship, but people did put out their logos, and the firms basically trusted us. That year it was a major
Yep.
success. We had more than 2,000 registered individuals for the Washington Arbitration Week. And after that year, which was 2009, the whole thing picked up, and we slowly started to transition into an in-person forum. And it has been now 6 years since we started, and this year may have been the most successful
Yep.
one. We had more than 2,000, I would say 2,500. We're still counting the numbers, but we had more than 2,500 individuals joining the Washington Arbitration Week. We had 5 days of forums. I think that the lowest number of attendees of one session, and we had 25 of those, may have been about 60 or 65 people, both online and in
Gotcha.
person. One thing that we were very committed to is making sure that our our panelists are in person because we have individuals coming from Japan, we have some from Latin America, from France, from many states in the U.S., students coming from New York, Penn University, etc., to Washington D.C. Of course, Georgetown is there, but we have people coming to Washington, D.C. to see the panelists. So we normally request the panelists to be in person here. There are exceptions if people fall ill or something strange circumstances. But normally it is an in-person event. And for the attendees, people can attend our sessions from anywhere in the world. And when I say anywhere in the world, we have had attendees online from China, from the African continent, from South America, from Eastern Europe, etc. And one aspect of it, which is very important to us, is that it is free of cost for any participant. Anybody who wants to attend, it is free of cost. And of course, we have sponsors, but the sponsor is on a ability to give basis. It's not so that allows us to really invite whoever we think is the best one in their
Yep.
field. So we've had PhD students, we've had PhDs that have written on specific topics. We also have great practitioners who may be partners of well mature firms. But the idea is that everyone contributes to the extent that they can, and that allows us some level of liberty to invite everyone. Why free of cost for attendees? Well, because arbitration is a dispute resolution means, and if we keep the arbitration as a dispute resolution means to only arbitration practitioners, then people will not be able to understand why it is important to promote, and there may be misconceptions. So we really need to spread the word and share the word in terms of there are means to solve dispute peacefully that include investment arbitration or international commercial arbitration or other means as well. So that's sort of our model, and thankfully it has been very successful so far.
Got it. With 2,500 people amounting to this year, and keeping it free for all the ones who are interested, and practitioners and educators, academics, all alike. That's essentially something that Xtrategy should be proud of, and also the other partners as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. And what we have found is that when you share the knowledge and you try to educate everyone under a model that is still sustainable, great things happen. Great things happen. In general terms, people start sort of sharing the information, sharing knowledge, even sharing means to get better
Yep.
training. For instance, in this Washington Arbitration Week, we had a whole half a day workshop of cross examinations of by counsel to quantum experts, and that is one of the most difficult things to do in international arbitration because normally counsel are lawyers, and cross examining quantum experts is a difficult task. Why? Because the quantum experts have been examined by many counsel before, and they are the ones who hold the PhD in economics or math, and they're the real experts. So if you think about cross-examining them, it is a difficult task. And this year we had a workshop or four workshops of various teams competing against each other and basically doing the workshop and exercise and the mock examinations, and then getting a lot of feedback, and it was very successful. So we have great people who are willing to get involved in it and also to improve their skills. And when you do that, people start appreciating the breadth and the depth of what Washington Arbitration Week involves.
Exactly. The gravity and the depth and the breadth, as you mentioned, of the Washington Arbitration Week
Absolutely.
is of utter importance, and then it has paid off so far for the past 6 years, and including this as well. But apart from Washington Arbitration Week, I saw that Xtrategy also runs trade missions, innovation visits, and even strategic alliances. So, how do these outreach and alliance programs feed directly into your co arbitration and consulting work?
Well, those trade missions and alliances, the trade missions are mainly run by my partner, and she basically in that field works hand in hand with special economic zones. She works with potential investors, doing trade missions or doing investment missions, and basically it is also a model of to some extent trade education and connecting people. So for instance she would take potential trade partners from a Latin American country into Silicon
Okay.
Valley and vice versa, or she would take some individuals from the Americas into Asia,
Okay.
and vice versa. And she would connect them. And basically, the key thing is connecting specific interest so that people can do business, both investment wise and also trade
Okay.
wise. And there's a lot of learning in those experiences.
Got it. Got it. So it's a multifaceted approach that kind of grabs more opportunities and traction for strategy as well.
E- Exactly, exactly. And in terms of cooperation, be, now going back into the legal field, because we are focused on some cases in investment arbitration and also international commercial
Yeah.
arbitration. And because we are a boutique firm specialized in investment treaty arbitration, international commercial arbitration, and public international
Yeah.
law, sometimes, and because we have a very aggressive, cost efficient model, given that we have members of our firm throughout the Americas, we have the ability to come as a team in certain cases and act as
Yeah.
counsel or co-counsel. So some of our cases that we have done, including cases defending sovereign states, for instance, two cases in the Americas, we have come as a team under a figure that is called
Okay.
co-counsel. So we have been co-counsel of a bigger law firm, which has sought us as a more specialized team in investment arbitration. So in those cases, they have basically knock on our doors and say, well, you have experience in Latin America, or you have experience in the
Yeah.
Americas, and you have experience in investment arbitration and public international law, or you have experience in South America. Could you help us? And of course, we have said yes, and with very positive results. So that's how we sometimes partner with other bigger law firms, based on a cost-efficient model and also on a knowledge and practice-based model. And we have done that in investment arbitration. We have also done that in international commercial arbitration. One of our first cases as Xtrategy was a case that was that we helped bringing against another private party in Japan, in an arbitration center in Japan, related to solar panels. In that case, we partner with a Japanese firm which was acting as local counsel in Japan. There was a gentleman that was both an American and Indian from
Okay.
India, and we represented him, and with good results, he won,
Yeah.
and then there was a settlement. But we use our knowledge and specialize and size as a boutique to partner with other bigger law firms and make it more efficient and cost effective for our clients.
That's a commendable, not commendable, that's applause worthy efforts by strategy, those flagship projects. But coming towards the end of the podcast, what do you reckon has been the sweetest moment or the most cherished moment during the last 6 years ever since X strategy came into being?
Well, there have been many. There have been many. One was the win that I just shared with you because it was our first
Yeah.
win. Also, it was in a country that has very few arbitrations, and in a country that has seen very few U.S. law firms getting to into Japanese arbitration. So that was very
Yeah.
sweet. There's also there are also other special moments as an arbitrator, having been appointed as an ICSID International Center for the Settlement of Investment Dispute arbitrator in a case that is also a sweet moment, but of course, the work is to be done. Also, having been appointed as an expert in investment arbitration and treaty negotiator and expert on public international law in a recent case, that's also an honor, because then at some stage I will get cross-examined by arbitrators or by parties, and that's also important. And the WOW is also, every edition of the WOW is a very relevant one, because frankly, it's having the ability to give back to the
Yeah,
community that has given me and Xtrategy so much.
yeah,
So that's also an important moment. So I would, and of course, every year that I teach at Georgetown is a sweet moment, because it keeps me updated, it keeps me discovering. It's fun. We draft the exams that are very much related to reality. Just to give you a general sense, our last case for our course was a case that involved the rare minerals, which is very much
okay,
up to
yeah.
date. Absolutely. So it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's based on reality. It's fun. There's creativity, and that's what keeps us going. So there's no single moment. Every moment is fun, and the idea is to keep on doing projects that bring back to the community, that are able to provide representation to deserving clients, that being a sovereign state, or that being a private party that has been affected by another private party under a contract, etc. So it's all, and just trying to connect people, and do things in an excellent manner.
Understandable. But it's been pretty insightful and quite entertaining in terms of knowledge sharing as well. How a practitioner and also an academic is actually implementing out there. So, being an adjunct professor, being the founding part of Xtrategy, and also an international arbitrator, you're playing in three different fields and you're orchestrating all of them together to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and I'm exceeding expectations and being successful. But thanks a lot, Jose. Thanks a lot for being part of the podcast today. And once the episode is released and the audience wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
The best way to get in touch with me is through
Okay.
WhatsApp. One, I mean, through our website, which is www.xtrategy without an
Okay.
S llp.com. So xtrategy.llp.com. That's our website, and they can write to me. My email is there. My WhatsApp is there. Is the same as my phone number, and they can also, if interested in Washington Arbitration Week or its sister event, World Arbitration Update, they can write to me by either WhatsApp or text me. We we try to be responsive. Sometimes we don't do it on the same day, but we do it.
There you go. And
Okay,
obviously on LinkedIn as well, where we yes.
absolutely.
So all those shareable links to Jose's strategy will be shared on our show notes. And thanks a lot, Jose. Thanks a lot for being part of the podcast today.
Thank you very much, Jay, and it's a pleasure and honor to be here at the corner office.
Lovely, lovely having you at the corner office. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. And we'll be with another biz wizard trying to understand what they're doing in their corner office. Till then, be safe and take care.